So getting great tenants firstly should be your number one goal when you need to rent out your investment property. Having a vacant property can actually be one of the biggest costs you incur as a landlord. So this piece of information is actually going to save you so much money once you start implementing this advice into your investment strategy. The real rental value is the highest rent that good tenants are willing to pay. Because while you may find tenants at a higher rent, will they be tenants that you want? Now, what do I mean by good tenants? By this, I mean tenants that are paying rent on time, every time, who take great care of your property, they're easy to deal with, and they stay for a long time because, let's face it, the cost of changing tenants and your vacancy period is what is going to kill your property's performance if you need new tenants every 12 months. Now, I bet you would love to have this kind of tenant, and let me tell you now, this is what every landlord and every property manager wants in their rentals as well. The problem is that out of every 9 or so applications, only about one is typically going to be what I would call an ideal tenant. This is based on my own personal experience, and most agents are going to have their own ratio. But if you quickly do the numbers, this means around only 10% of the active applicants are going to be tenants that meet your criteria on average. So if you try to rent a property at well above market value, then the numbers start to look much worse, and you only start having applications where there are people that no one else is willing to approve that are now applying for your property. So this means if you want to attract the best tenants, you're going to have to compete to attract the best tenants. Now, we do this with great marketing, and we have opens both after hours and on weekends, and our team has great customer service, which will help you secure a tenant at a premium, particularly when we're competing for great tenants. But that premium will still need to be in line with what you can see based on comparable results in the area. If you're being recommended a price, those comparable reports should support that recommendation. And if the recommendation is $20 above everything else in the suburb, then the quality of applicants is likely to suffer. So there are some occasions where a suburb has very few comparables, and this makes it more difficult to accurately provide a range. But most suburbs, there will be enough properties that have been leased that majority of agents worth their salt can make a logical jump where, okay, if the property would rent for X, for example, if the suburb has lots of 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom properties that were built in, say, the 1960s, but your property has 4 bedrooms and it's also in the 1960s, then we now have a baseline, and we simply answer 2 questions to work out what that price will be. What is the condition and features relative to other leased properties in the area? And the second is, what is a 4th bedroom worth? So if we're looking at what that 4th bedroom is in terms of higher rent, many new investors will speak with an agent or a number of agents, and sometimes it's easy to think, well, you all do the same things, but from that point of view, it becomes a very easy decision who promises the highest rent and charges the lowest fees, but it never really works out this way, or at least from what I've seen. What I would recommend is firstly, review the results in the local area to make sure the price recommendation makes sense. Then have a very in-depth conversation about how the property is marketed, how opens are conducted, how applications are processed, and lastly, how you were involved and communicated throughout that process. So understanding what we've just gone through will help you to save money, because firstly, getting great tenants should be the number one objective. And a very close number 2 should be getting the best rent with a minimal turnover time for your investment. So I'm Ricky from Real People Real Estate. If you liked and enjoyed this video, please like it, please share it, and don't forget to comment on what topics you'd like us to discuss over the coming episodes.